It was a cold winter evening when Anya stood by the window, her fingers tracing invisible lines across the glass, waiting for Aarav to come home. The sound of raindrops against the windowpane was the only thing keeping her company. They had been married for 5 years, and though their love was once a fire that burned through every moment, lately it had begun to flicker like a candle in the wind. Life had gotten busier, responsibilities had multiplied, and somewhere in between paying bills and chasing dreams, their laughter had faded into silence. When Aarav finally walked in, drenched from the rain, his tired eyes met hers briefly before he walked past her. "You didn't even bring an umbrella," she asked softly. He gave a half-smile and said, "Forgot." That one word said so much more than it should have. He was forgetting things lately, not just small things like umbrellas or anniversaries, but moments, feelings, the tenderness that once defined them. Anya tried to bring back what they had lost. She would cook his favorite meals, leave little notes on the fridge, even stay up waiting for him to talk about his day. But he always seemed distracted. His job as an architect was demanding, and he often brought work home, his eyes glued to the laptop screen until midnight. Anya, a teacher who poured her heart into her students, began to feel invisible in her own home. One evening, she broke down. "Aarav," she said, her voice trembling, "when was the last time we actually talked? When was the last time we looked at each other and really saw one another?" He froze, guilt flashing in his eyes. "Anya, I'm just tired. You know how much pressure I'm under." Tears welled up in her eyes as she whispered, "And what about me, Aarav? I'm tired too, tired of waiting for you to remember that I exist." That night, they slept facing opposite sides of the bed. But sleep didn't come to either of them. Aarav stared into the darkness, realizing how far they had drifted. The woman he once couldn't spend a day without talking to now felt like a stranger sleeping beside him. Memories of their early days flooded his mind, their first meeting in college, the endless conversations under the stars, the way she laughed at his silly jokes. He missed that. He missed her. The next morning, Aarav woke up early. He made breakfast for her for the first time in months. When she entered the kitchen, surprised to see him cooking, he smiled shyly. "I thought I'd try to make your favorite pancakes," he said. She laughed softly for the first time in weeks. "They look burnt." "Well," he grinned, "guess I still need practice." That small moment broke the ice between them, but it wasn't enough to heal everything. Days turned into weeks, and though they began to talk more, their lives remained complicated. Aarav was offered a major project abroad, a chance to advance his career, something he had worked toward for years. But accepting it meant being away from Anya for at least a year. When he told her, her heart sank. She tried to smile and said, "You should go. It's your dream." But deep down, she was terrified of losing him completely. The night before his flight, they sat together on the balcony in silence. The city lights shimmered below, and Anya finally said, "Promise me something. No matter how far you go, don't forget what we have." Aarav took her hand gently and said, "I could never forget you, Anya. You're my home." Tears rolled down her cheeks as she whispered, "Then come back home soon." Months passed. They video called whenever they could, but the distance was hard. There were misunderstandings, missed calls, and lonely nights. Anya felt the emptiness creeping back in, but she reminded herself of his promise. Aarav, too, struggled. No matter how many professional achievements he earned, he felt incomplete without her. One day, Anya received a call from Aarav's colleague. There had been an accident at the construction site. Her world went still. She dropped everything and flew out the very next day, her heart pounding with fear. When she finally saw him, bruised but alive, she broke down in tears. He smiled weakly and whispered, "Told you I'd come back to you." She hugged him tightly, realizing in that moment that love wasn't about perfection or constant happiness, it was about standing together through storms. After that incident, Aarav decided to return home permanently. "I've had enough of chasing success without you by my side," he told her. "You are my greatest achievement." They rebuilt their life together, this time slower, more intentional. They went on evening walks, cooked dinner together, and talked for hours again like they used to. Every ordinary moment became precious. Years later, as they sat watching the sunset from their porch, Anya leaned her head on his shoulder and said, "Do you ever regret anything?" Aarav smiled, wrapping his arm around her. Only that I wasted time chasing things that meant nothing without you. Their love had weathered distance, silence, and pain, but it emerged stronger, deeper, more real. It was no longer just about romance or passion, it was about commitment, patience, and the quiet comfort of knowing someone's heart beats for you no matter what. Their story wasn't a fairy tale, it was a reminder that real love isn't about perfection, it's about persistence. Love isn't endless because it never faces challenges, it's endless because it survives them. And as they sat hand in hand, watching the fading light turn into stars, they knew their love would never fade, it would only grow, endlessly.